Okay, so I'd start by introducing myself. I'm Cody. This is my family. This is Angie and Ashley, me and Chelsea's significant others. So, in our readings, we summarize their parents as part of family. Gender is described as the result of socially constructed ideas about the behavior, actions, and roles a particular sex performs. And sex is described as the biological characteristics that define humans as female or male. So, for whoever wants to answer, in your own words, how would you define both gender and sex?
Go.
How would you define gender?
Well, traditionally I've always thought it was definitely how you were born, but I am seeing that people can be born into the wrong thing that they don't feel.
Okay.
And so, I accept that.
Good. Yes. I agree with the descriptions given. That is accurate. It's there's what you were born and what you more fit into.
So you're born as a sex, as male
Yes.
or female, and then you fall into gender roles
Yeah.
as like a social construct.
Yes.
Okay. So how do you then define being either feminine or masculine? Like is being feminine only for females? Or can men be feminine or males be feminine?
Yes.
Are they exclusive to each other?
No.
No?
No.
I think they've changed.
You think it's changed?
Like it's like even from like the 50s or something to
Yeah.
now, it's so much different. Like what's feminine and masculine.
Yeah,
It's so
I
different. Yeah.
I think it's gone a lot more from the masculine to the feminine.
Mm-hmm.
I think generally things have become more feminine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Both for males and for females.
Yeah, even females.
I don't know, I feel like females have gotten more masculine also. I feel like it's just the borders have blurred a little bit.
Yeah, things
Yeah.
are more gray.
Yeah, because it's more acceptable for girls to do whatever now than it was before.
Mm-hmm.
Even
Yeah.
things that were traditionally masculine.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
As you become independent, you're going to become more masculine.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
unless
That's related to
you have to go to
masculinity is like an independence
Yeah.
thing.
I feel like it's more masculinity is more about like the stronger emotions, and
Yeah.
femininity is more about like vulnerable emotions.
Yeah.
And now it's more acceptable for each sex to have like
Yeah.
to go both ways.
I like that. Do you think there are some public opinions that you've heard regarding masculinity or femininity that you either agree with or disagree with? Like, I think for a long time it's been that men can't be feminine. That's not masculine. And men should be masculine. But I disagree with that.
Yeah. That men can't have like emotions. That they
Yeah.
can't be emotional. They can't like men don't cry.
To
Yeah.
be
or, like,
emotional, there has to be like anger or
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
aggression or something.
Can't be like
Sensitive.
sad or yeah.
It's
I don't
like
think
males can't be sensitive. It's like or that all women are just sensitive.
Yeah, it's like women are nurturers and men are like the doers and like providers.
Providers, yeah.
Where it's like
Really, everyone has a bit of all of it.
Yeah. So, regardless of gender, how would each of you define yourself as more masculine or feminine? Would you consider yourself more one way or the other?
Go in the circle.
I consider myself feminine.
Feminine?
Yeah. But, yeah.
I'll go with that.
I think I'm definitely more feminine, but I definitely feel like,
You don't have to describe or subscribe to those. You don't have to be one or the other. Be a
no.
mixture of both.
Yeah.
Kind of like it just depends on how you define masculinity or feminine. Like you said, strong emotion would be like a masculine, like a anger or something.
Mhm.
But
Yeah. I think everyone has a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
A bit of both.
yeah,
I think your job has a lot to do with it too, because being in construction, I can't hardly be feminine.
Feminine. Yeah.
Feminine.
Yeah.
So I've got to have a more masculine side over there,
Yeah.
simply because of the job
Right.
itself.
Yeah. I think so.
So it's hard, and then so it's almost like you got two sides. You got
Yeah.
work side, and then you got your home social side,
That's very true.
which can be
Yeah.
different.
Yeah, that is very true. Like when I'm at work and running a set, I have to embrace more of the masculine characteristics because I have to get people to listen to me and like
Yeah.
follow what I tell them.
See, I'm a therapist, so it's like when I don't know. I have to talk about feelings a lot, but I have to do it, especially with guys, in a way that it's like, this is just how it is.
Yeah.
You just need to. So I don't know. That's a weird.
Yeah.
It's a weird question. I don't know. I guess kind of feminine if you define it like emotional as feminine, but
Yeah.
you have to be like straightforward and not like it's okay. You know, I don't know.
Yeah, you can't coddle them since they're
You-
grown
in
adult
trouble.
people.
Yeah.
So you feel like you can be concerned about people at a job site? Like, can you show like a kind of a nurturing concern for them, or is that, do you think that would be kind of like a
Taboo or something.
seen as weak or something? It's like too feminine.
We don't ever get
Yeah, like
Face
you're talking
of it.
about. You know,
safety wise. You've got to feel a little more to that.
right.
I don't know if that's a masculine or feminine thing, but you do feel more worry about the guys and stuff
Yeah.
on the safety side.
Yeah.
So
It's like
you have to be
part of the
concerned with
relational.
what they're doing.
Like you have a specific relationship with people you work with. Like
Yeah.
you guys have a common goal of like everyone be safe and get the job done.
Yeah.
And like safety is an important part of that. Just like gender roles are probably like if I'm single, I'm not like married at 22 and raising kids. I have to be those masculine things sometimes, to, like
Yeah.
take care of myself. So it's like the relational aspect I think is
Yeah.
part of it.
But why is strong related to masculine and not feminine?
I don't know.
Right?
That's a good
That's
question.
just like a societal
very
thing. That's
valid
Yeah.
question.
It's just
how it's
words. It's
been.
just semantics. It's like
Yeah.
you call it that, but I think it's alright. It's like changing a lot, even in my lifetime.
Yeah.
It's just like so different.
Yeah, well, it's very interesting, like, thinking about, like, Carla and, I just
Mark.
forgot to say Mark. Like, in their, when I look at their relationship, she has the more traditionally masculine
Mhm.
characteristics.
Yeah.
She's more vocal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
so
she's
much more
more
vocal.
strong-willed and, like, this is how I'm gonna run, how we're gonna do things, and he's just like, okay, I don't know.
I feel like we get caught up in like, okay, well, they need to fit in these two categories.
Right.
But like the categories are changing, but so are like how we define the categories. So
Mhm.
it's like
It's like with the sex being like the biological male or female. If we were saying masculinity and femininity were like the characteristics, or like gender is like the social construct that we have, that's not exclusive to the sex of a person.
Mm.
So you could be a masculine female, and that be right. Is that
Yeah.
kind of what we think?
Mhm.
I think so. Like,
well, even when we use different words besides like the vocal or the
Yeah.
like straightforward, we put them under the title of masculine.
mm,
You know.
Yeah.
So it's like who knows? In like 20 years, those words might not even
Oh,
exist.
yeah.
It just,
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's what me and Andrew were talking about the other night. Like, we had to take a assessment test, and it was like a gender and careers assessment thing to see whether you had a bias, like an implicit bias for one gender being career oriented and the other being family oriented.
Mhm.
And so, like, through this thing, it came out as a strong. Oh, it went dark. Okay. It went as a strong association of male with career and female with home.
Right.
Which is a very traditional thing.
Mhm.
But it's not like it was in the 50s. Now we both work and do stuff at home, so it's kind of more 50-50 than it was. And there are families, people at work who the wife goes to work and the guy stays at home,
Mhm.
the stay-at-home dad. So
But even in the 70s, when we graduated high school, it was more women stay home and the
mhm.
Mhm.
men work.
I would say overall that's probably still more likely.
Yeah.
But
A part of that is just because the way things are set up. Like most women in their jobs get, if there's
Yeah.
maternity leave at all, get significantly more than the men do.
Yeah.
So even if the plan was she's going to be home for 2 weeks and then go to work, he doesn't get, the father might not get the paternity leave,
yeah,
the extra to stay home.
right.
So it kind of forces you into
Yeah.
taking an option.
So this goes to the movie that's part of this. Do you ever wear a metaphorical mask when facing the outside world? If so, describe the mask. What function does it have, and does it serve you well?
Is this the movie about the little boys that
It's a
mask wear?
yeah. So why do you feel like you have to wear a mask at work? Do you feel like do you put on being
like a hard
more
ass
like
mask.
so you have to put up kind of a wall like a you can't
Oh,
be
yeah.
sensitive.
I can't
At
be
the table.
sensitive or feel anything, no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or I just hurt myself.
So I wonder what you're saying. You would have to be more show like masculine traits
Yes.
for
Like, I
it
don't
to
have
be
any
that way.
feelings.
You can't be nurturing when it's
Yeah.
like,
I am
don't
romantic.
say-
If you show weakness, they will attack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what about non-work? What if you just have socially?
Wow.
Is there more of a masculine side or feminine side with
I don't
with
feel
all
like
your
I-
friends and everybody?
I don't feel like that with my friends. I'd have to put on any kind of
No.
mask.
No, I don't know.
I don't feel like
I think
All
guys
my
have to do
friends.
more of that.
Yeah, so
Yeah, I don't think they can show as much emotion around groups and people and things like that more than they would if it's just
Mhm.
talking with a spouse or something.
Yeah.
Do you feel like when you're just hanging out with the bakers that you can be, or
Well,
versus
bakers
like
a
at
little-
work?
Baker's a little different because they're almost like family, so
Yeah, so you can
we've
be.
been so close. But other couples and stuff, you don't. I don't know. I think I stay away from more personal things if it's couples,
Mm.
where you don't have to get down into that kind of conversations.
Mm.
So I don't know if that's part of the masculine side or just
I kind of think so.
whatever you want to.
I heard an interesting theory of the reason why, like, when older couples, when the female dies first, the men are way less likely to live that long because men tend to not develop close, intimate relationships with other people outside of their spouse, whereas
Yeah.
women tend to have like really close relationships with friends, so they are more likely to have that kind of nurturing that you need as a human
Yeah.
to like live longer. Interesting.
I could see that.
Yeah.
I can see that.
But see, I like that. I like talking about deep stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Angie knows that.
You didn't
Yeah.
get that from me.
I do too.
See, I like
So
it.
you got it from her.
I like a more in-depth conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, especially, maybe not with people I just met, but I can meet someone and by the end of the night, if you want to have a conversation like that, I'm cool with that.
Mm-hmm.
Because then you really get to know who that person is. Like,
Yeah.
it's less superficial. So maybe you get behind whatever mask that they have put on, and you figure out like what they think is important, or what they're really like.
The good news is when you get older, you don't care. So you don't have to put on any mask.
Yeah, you just yourself.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Which is very freeing.
I think of the mask I have to wear at work because I have to be a human. Like, I have to show, like, model positive communication and all of that, but I can't make it too personal. So it's
Right.
like a mask, but also I have to somehow be, I don't know, I have to be as much as I can be everything all at once
Yeah.
without like being too much of myself, if that makes sense.
I would
It's
think if you got
interesting, yeah.
emotional with, then you wouldn't be as objective.
Effective.
Exactly,
Yeah.
but like if someone says something that's really intense, I'm okay with like tearing up a little because
Yeah.
they also need the empathy to
Yeah.
like know,
I
hey,
agree.
this person actually cares. They're
Yeah.
not just here to make. If I was there to make money, I wouldn't be there. But
Yeah.
you know, like they have to have it. So you have to be like really human, but like separate. I'm feeling this way about what you're saying because my experience.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting mask, I guess, but
I wonder if people feel more comfortable with a man or a woman
it's a thing.
being a counselor for them.
They don't, because a lot of my I work with a female group. A lot of them have experienced trauma
Yeah.
at the hands of men.
Right.
So they avoid having male therapists work with the women, whereas some of the men have an implicit bias where they don't respect women. Usually, most of the therapists like kind of lay down the law and like,
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
I'm here, so
Yeah.
you got to work with me.
Yeah.
But yeah, with the women, it's a kind of an issue sometimes because they don't
Yeah.
always trust the men.
Right. I can see
So-
that.
The only worry I have, going back to feminine and masculine, is that if I want men that feel really masculine to be able to do that,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
or women very feminine,
Mhm.
I mean, they have the right to feel that way too. You know,
It's like
it
a
is
choice.
blurry,
Mhm.
but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I think ideally you would be able to do whatever you want.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like it's like
Yes.
you know, some women who decide to stay at home with
Mhm.
their kids feel judged.
Yeah.
By, like,
Exactly.
you know,
Yeah.
certain
They
people who
should,
say,
yeah.
well, you should go to work, whereas like it's it's your choice if
Yeah.
you want. I think it's good though for everyone to examine why they want to do those things
Right.
and like make sure you're not like not doing something just because you feel
Yeah.
They can be judged for doing it or not doing it.
yeah. So
Yeah.
I would agree.
Because
Well, I
you will
think-
always be judged.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Either way you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No matter what you're doing.
But men my age, they put up that mask because they still believe you're not supposed to be that way.
Right.
So they're more masculine and tough and
Regardless of how they really feel.
yeah. If you really talk to them, then
Yeah.
you could find it if you could just get down through all
Yeah.
that.
Mm-hmm.
But
That's
I
what-
think it's just history or whatever through the generations.
Yeah.
It's just where my age. I think our generation. I think there's a big jump between yours and mine.
Yeah.
Where mine is more of don't cry, don't do
Yeah.
all that, don't get emotional. But your age has a lot more than that.
I agree.
I think it's not good to judge that either bad or good because I think all of the gender roles that came from necessity, like you
Yeah.
had to.
Yeah.
Whereas now we don't really have to do those things, so it's easier. But like saying, well, they were awful for doing that.
Mhm.
It's like they did
Yeah.
what they had, like
Yeah.
it made sense.
And just like it's not bad because if you want to do that now,
Yeah.
that's not falling into like stereotypical gender roles.
Mhm.
If that's what you want to do, you're
Right.
not conceding to pressure. If you, as like a woman or a mother, wants to stay at home with your kid, and the dad wants to go to work, like that is just what you want.
Yeah.
If you're doing it because you're like the mother or wife is turning down a job that she really wants and the husband is staying home even though he doesn't want to or whatever,
Mhm.
is going to work because he doesn't want to,
Mm-hmm.
and they're both doing the opposite, then
Mhm.
that is an issue.
Yeah.
I think that's when you're putting on a mask, doing what you don't really feel like you should be doing,
Mhm.
just because of what society tells you.
But I do think there's a point where, as an adult, you just have to do some stuff you don't want to do sometimes.
Yeah, that
like,
is true.
if two people could stay at home and not work, that would be cool. But
Yeah.
Right.
Just
Yeah.
doesn't happen that way.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Let's nobody go to work and everybody stay home. It'd be great.
Okay, so the last question is really just like to wrap it up. Is there anything that you've learned or discovered or think differently about now after this discussion? I thought it was the difference between generations is really interesting.
I agree.
Just realize kind of how things have changed
Mhm.
Yeah.
over, even from the time you guys were kids throughout your growing up and then having kids.
Oh,
And then our time growing up, just as a constant evolution as people.
Yeah.
you
I
know,
think the interesting thing about that is one of the interesting things that you've taught us. So like our parents, like you guys had different upbringing,
Mm,
but like you've taught us to be the way that we are.
yeah.
So like I wonder
You
why
did good.
if you inherently knew that you were teaching us to be more.
Not me.
Well, I do
You
think
just-
though it seems like that open-mindedness too is a big part of it.
Yeah.
Like you might my parents kind of fall into gender roles, but also they taught me to be open-minded
Yeah.
and like care about people ultimately
Yeah.
before you think about.
Yeah,
you know,
because I don't ever remember you saying anything like to Cody about like, oh, you can't be upset or like
Yeah, stop crying.
you're not allowed. Yeah, and I don't remember you ever saying anything to me about like you're not allowed to, you know, I don't know, be interested
something.
in
Go boxing.
building things or
Yeah.
be interested in, you know, like being in like a science club or something.
No.
This is like just really anecdotal, but like I remember one time being young and asking why girls got to pee sitting down, and you were like, boys can pee sitting down too if they want. You know what I mean? That's just like a gender thing. Like, why can't boys sit down and pee?
I've
Girls
seen-
get to. Yeah, you can sit down if that's what you want to do.
It works out for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just my black.
Just sleeping. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The only time I remember being told I couldn't do something was I wanted to take wood shop in high school, and you told me no, but you told me no because you said that's where all the delinquents are.
That was probably
I had wood shop.
related to your high school.
I was in wood shop. I wasn't a delinquent.
Exactly.
Exhibit A.
Hey, I took home ec in high school.
See?
I did.
And you learned how to sew, which has been very helpful in
There
my
you
life.
go.
See?
He
That's a
sewed, did all our
perfect, like-
sewing. Yeah.
People might say it's the work that you do that is masculine or feminine, but you did sew everything growing up,
Yeah.
and I don't think anyone would call you like a feminine person
Man,
or
yeah.
Right.
would classify you as female for doing that, you know?
Yeah.
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 It's like the masculine and feminine aren't male and female
Mhm.
specific.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just a skill that's like a very attention oriented, which you're,
Yeah.
those
Yeah.
things.
And I'd be like, meh, meh.
Yeah.
I'd be like,
Sexy
squirrel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Well,
No, go ahead. Keep going.
Well, I think my thoughts have definitely changed, though, because when you all were, I mean, I had specific, like, oh, Chelsea needs to be a ballerina,
Yeah.
and Kevin needs to play basketball
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah.
And it gradually, I came to a different way of thinking about that.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry if I
No, I mean,
pushed you one way or another.
I feel like we've all felt like we have the choice to do whatever we want
Yeah.
to do
Yeah.
in whatever
Yeah.
field we want to do.
Yeah, because then later I thought, why would I even?
So
Think
you just
that.
want to have your expectation for your
Yeah.
kids.
Because
Whatever
I
it
wanted to
is.
be a ballerina.
Yeah. I was clearly not meant to be a
Doesn't mean
ballerina.
Chelsea wanted to be a ballerina.
She was
Yeah.
She was a clogger.
She's a
Not
clogger.
a ballerina, but she was a clogger.
That's right.
She was a good flogger.
She was a good clogger.
Yeah.
It's fast tap. The
So-
ballet was too slow and methodical.
All right, well, that was a good discussion.
Yeah.
We
Yay!
went well over our 5-minute
Yeah.
conversation.
Yeah, you gotta see if
Good
you gotta
Edit.
edit that really good.
Bye.